And welcome everyone. And I'm Prema Gurreri, Vedic astrologer. I'm a consciousness coach. I also help people take their work out into the world, whether that's a business, a foundation, a book, whatever that may be, because it's just so in my heart to really support conscious women visionaries, to really activate their divine gifts and align with what my body of work, the Sacred Wealth Code, because that connects us in and unlocks our soul blueprint for both the purpose we want and the wealth that's really true to us. It's not what the world thinks we need as wealth, but is true to us. So I welcome you here today. Use the chat. If you have questions, I'll ask you to respond to things. And if you'd like to join in, because I think of this as a conversation that we're in, not just me speaking and talking at you. So this is a huge subject I have for you today, as all of these subjects are. And it's really about balancing your divine feminine and your sacred masculine energies with your sacred wealth code. And I will get to that. I will explain to you what your sacred wealth code is. It's within you. You're in touch with it at some level, and there's ways you could be in touch with it more and have it work for you more. And so I will get to that. And also this subject of I want to decode balance. That's where I really want to jump in here really quickly, because balance isn't even on one, two things. It's not even Steven. It's really, my definition is constant unified movement, which really is the realm of the feminine anyway, movement is. But we need to be in constant unified movement to be aware of what's needed, when it's needed, and how that can come through us. We all have masculine energy. We all have feminine energy. Being a woman, most women, not all, are predominantly feminine. Being a man, most men are predominantly masculine. And of course, there's a crossover. And let's face it, if we go underneath all of that, we're all energy. We're all energetic beings. We're spiritual beings here, also having a human experience. So we have to deal with that the humanity side of us as well. But masculine and feminine is just a way to help us, and slicing and dicing energy, helping us to understand it better, so that we can embody it and we can use it better. That's the best way I can say that. So we can wield these energies to wield ourselves even more so. So it will be really useful today for you to have a journal or something to write with, for you to be willing to turn off anything else and really hone in here and get present here with me and with the collective here who's tuning into this now and in the future. That'll be really useful for you. Give yourself this gift of this time. I am all about you having an experience, creating transformation in our time together. And I feel like we can only scratch the surface of the subject in this time together. But the intention I'm putting out is that what comes through me is what you need in this moment. And of course, there is absolutely more. So give yourself the gift of this time. And let's just take a moment to just take a deep breath together. Close your eyes for just a moment, if you're not driving, of course, and put your hand on your heart. The heart knows all. This is our feminine center, the field of the heart. And let's just close our eyes and take a couple of deep breaths in and out through our heart. When we're really willing to connect in with ourselves, then we can connect in with source. And then we can reach out and connect in with others, connect in with the world. So take another deep full breath in through your heart with the intention of just coming down into your energy, into your heart center, this amazing heart center that you have, where it connects you to the field of possibilities, where you're connected to your soul, where you're connected to your gifts, where you're connected to your truth and to the truth and to your intuition and your inner knowing. And just have the intention here to open up and receive whatever it is that's yours to receive today. Receiving, a feminine principle. We are built to receive. And just take another deep full breath. We're all here together in this moment and in this heart. Feel free to stay tuned in or feel free to open your eyes, whatever is best for you. All right. I have a lot I want to move with you today and share with you. And going to go probably fast at times because sometimes my energy will, and I'll go slow at times. So you'll be able to hear a recording if you need to go back to anything. So I really want to activate in you today, really help to activate more of you, just more of you, and really help you to step into your next level of evolution, your next level of opening, your next level of your divine gifts. And we'll get to that because that's a big part of what your sacred wealth code is. And because it is time, and this is why you're gathered here, you feel it, you feel the time that it is. I mean, we are in a paradigm shift. It is a chaotic time. And in truth, it's been chaos for quite a while. And in truth, it'll be chaos a lot in the future. And the feminine actually knows how to wield chaos when we don't get caught in it. So it's very important for us to be in touch with our hearts and be able to move with what really moves us and not spend too much time moving against what we're against. It's time for us to really stand up for what we're for, stand in. And a big part of feminine energy is that we come together on it. We need to come together. We don't do things alone. We were never meant to do it alone. Of course, we have moments of solitude, but we are aware that we're part of a collective. We are aware of community. We are aware that it's about bringing people together, and what in really choosing and standing in for what's good for all concerned. And that includes yourself, because one of the shadow sides of feminine energy and of the divine feminine, when the divine feminine is in the shadow side of the divine feminine, is sacrificing, because we are such great nurturers, is sacrificing who we are, what we want, our heart's desires for the others around us. And that has been nurtured, and that has been conditioned, and that has been programmed. And that has been part of feminine energy not standing in the fullness of its divinity, us not wielding it in that way. And that's something we are all processing. I'm still processing. We're all still processing. And we need to continue to support each other and transform out of, because what you have, what's in you, what's in your heart. And I want you to really think about that right now. And I'd love for you to share that as well. What is really burning in your heart at this point? Like today, like right now, what is burning in your heart? Is it, you have a huge amount of compassion for what's going on in the world. You have something to give, and you're not, haven't stepped into that, or you don't have the clarity of what it's time for you to do, or how you can contribute, or how you can create some more freedom for yourself. What is that? What's burning in your heart today? I'd love for you to chime in and share that in the chat here with me and each other. What's burning in your heart? Because I guarantee you there is something burning in your heart. Quick story, many years ago, and I talk about this more in my book, Your Sacred Wealth Code, which you can grab on Amazon or on my website. But it's Unlocking Your Soul Blueprint for Purpose and Prosperity. And was burning in my heart. I was a yoga teacher and an intuitive and an energy worker. And I had a small studio, but I wanted to open this like really state-of-the-art yoga center and healing and art center, which I did. And this was in 2002, I opened this center, had it for 5 years. It's a little ahead of its time. Like I wanted to be streaming classes and doing things before that was actually happening. And I was always pushing the edge. Part of my Sacred Wealth Code, and there are archetypes in your Sacred Wealth Code, as I have a very pioneering aspect. I have a pioneering communicator in my Sacred Wealth Code, which is always, and a pioneering leader, always pushing me on the leading edge. And you're on the leading edge of something, absolutely. So I created something that was near and dear to my heart. I felt like I was on purpose. I was creating a community, and I was even creating a 6-figure business. Yet it was not meeting my needs. We all have needs. Our humanity has needs. On a spiritual level, we have everything, but on a physical level, yeah, that's when we fall into our needs. It wasn't meeting all of my needs. It was meeting other people's needs. I was sacrificing what I needed, and I was doing way too much. The reason I want to share this with you is also to demonstrate the masculine energy, which is living in doo-doo land. I was my self-worth at some level and value was connected to what I did. Even though I was awake on a lot of levels, I was still hooked into that. So I was doing way too much. Are you doing way too much? And where are you doing way too much? It's very common for us to look for our value outside of ourselves, and that hooks us into that. We get love, we get appreciation, we get recognition, we're seen for what we do. And I had really fallen into that. And then I was doing everything I could to like clear the next pattern. What do I need to do? Getting business advice, working with my spiritual guides and my teachers. And I couldn't write this thing. I couldn't make it so that I was receiving the wealth that I needed and also serving. I was serving too much. And I realized that part of my identity was connected to it. I tried a lot of things, but one day I went to unlock that studio door. And this was a big, gorgeous, beautiful 2 studios. I have 4 children. I had a beautiful office for them to come to. I had created a beautiful community center. I had healing practitioners. And when I opened that door at 6 a.m. to teach class, I just heard it again, like, you have to let this go. And I really fell to my knees because this was my dark night of the soul. And I have had more than one, and I've had them since. And I know you have too. And if you're in it, I have so much compassion for you, because in so many ways are collectively, we're in a dark night of the soul. There is a light through that, and we have to go into that dark and be willing to stop looking outside of ourselves. And so I had to let that center go. I had lost my marriage during that time. There's a lot that just crumbled down and crushed during that time. And I found myself as a single parent, letting go of my center. Actually, I had to move home at that time because my landlords wanted to move back in. A lot of stuff went down at that time, but I vowed to stay on my knees and figure out what was going on. Like, how could I even have created what I've created, or even felt like I was on purpose and doing my work in the world, and it wasn't enough, or it wasn't feeding me on all my levels. And so I really dove into my soul blueprint, looking through the lens of Vedic astrology. And in that, I really saw this principle that it's a scientific principle in Vedic astrology. It's where your purpose and where your prosperity, where they intersect. And in that, I really saw what was there is your divine gifts. What was there was my divine gifts. And I've been talking to people and helping them with this through my readings and work with them, but it clicked in at another level because I saw the shadow side bigger than I'd ever seen it before. And what I saw was that I was in the shadow side of some of my wealth code. I was in the shadow side of some of the archetypes that are represented by the planets. Have archetypes in my system. And I saw that I was doing too much, and I was using some of the standing in some of the energy that really wasn't at my sweet spot. It wasn't where my gifts really were. It's what I was good at. Like, I'm a great administrator. I've run companies and I've been paid well for that. But that wears me out. And that is like me being a workhorse. And I'm better off leaving a lot of those responsibilities to someone else. I was doing everything myself, which is too much masculine energy. Shadow masculine is a great sacred masculine energy. So when we're and I'd lived on my own since I was 15, and I had to be very independent. Now, this served me in great ways, but it also hurt me in great ways because I didn't know how to fully receive. And I knew what my work was to do, was to really start to really embrace my gifts at a whole new level. But it gave me this freedom after this all crushing down on me to step into my work in the world with a whole new set of circumstances under a whole new paradigm, really. And I went back into business at a different level, more private work and online and group work, and working at a deeper level with people, less people, or in concentrated small groups. And I was able to turn my whole financial world around and grow it exponentially over the years, but within a few months' time, because I was willing to step into my divine gifts. I was willing to step into what I call my highest value gifts. And there's 2 aspects of this. I mean, I know what I would love to have you all for a 5-day retreat with me, and I could really break all of this down for you. So I'm going to trust you get what you need. Within your sacred wealth code, there is, to come back to the masculine and feminine energy, there is a masculine side of the energy, and is a feminine side, and they're both good. So let's talk about what masculine and feminine, from my point of view, are as far as the sacred and divine aspect and the shadow aspect. I'll weave back into your sacred wealth code. We'll do a process where you can ask some deep questions and get some very deep answers for yourself on how you can balance these energies more within you. And again, balance meaning, how can I wield more of my feminine energy, my divine feminine? How could I wield more of my sacred masculine energy at the time, at the moment I need it, when I need it, and how I need it, instead of being stuck in the shadow side, or maybe even being too feminine or being too masculine. So let me just bring you the analogy of masculine and feminine. That's my favorite analogy, which is feminine is flow. I know you can relate to that. And flow like a river, like a body of water. Now, if we look at the masculine as being the river banks that help to contain and guide that flow where it needs to go, whether that's a thought you're bringing into form, whether it's an inspiration and you're going to take inspired action on it, maybe you're going to write a book, maybe you're going to start a business with that, a collaboration, that flow, that feminine energy, that energy, if it does not have the riverbanks, it is just going to flow all over the surface of the earth, and it's going to go everywhere and not necessarily anywhere in particular. And then the riverbanks, who is directing the flow? Is it the actual riverbanks, or is it the river itself? This is the beauty of the balance and the flexibility and the gifts of the masculine and feminine working together, because most rivers do not run straight. They're a very circuitous path, because the feminine, the flow, is informing the masculine, the riverbanks, on how it needs to be guided, what it needs, what's the trajectory, the direction it needs, which is never a straight line. There are very, very few straight lines in nature, because the feminine doesn't work in straight lines. The mind wants us to do things in a straight line kind of a way. The feminine is flow, because we are picking up pieces on the way. We are transforming things on the way. We are gathering, we are exploring, we are nurturing, we are creating life, and also the destruction of things as well. So we want to be able to harness and understand our flow, our gifts within our sacred well code. That's going to be our high value gifts. Some of them are masculine, some of them are feminine. But the access in using our natural flow of what our divine energy is best at is so important at this period of time. It's always been important. The masculine I want you to think of on the positive side, or on the highest gift side, is consciousness. It is that deep meditation, that place where there is nothing and everything at the same time. And feminine energy is the full expression of life. It is nature, it is weather. If I was going to describe it as a city, Hawaii is feminine, New York City is masculine. It all has its place. So on the shadow side, and something that's been very one of the big shifts that's happening is we have been a more shadow run society, shadow masculine run society. And we're seeing what that's brought us. The divine feminine energy has been feared and has been undercut or tried to be held down for, throughout time, because of fear of our actual power. And that's within men too. This is the energy of the heart, that energy of inner knowing and compassion and community and connectedness and support, and being just so authentic and really living from the inside out. And that's my core purpose, is living and teaching others to live and create and be from the inside out. This shadow masculine energy has a lot of control to it. And women have also taken on, I want to say, some of the first steps in the feminine coming out in feminine power were emulating shadow masculine power. And that's been a problem. And there's been good things that came from it. I mean, last year we had the it was the anniversary of in 2020 of women getting the vote, 100 years. That took a lot of, a lot of pushback and a lot of standing for, and that's all the feminist movement, and that's all wonderful. But we've also moved to a different place and a different evolution, and there's a different aspect and a truer and more authentic aspect of our feminine energy that's being called for, that energy of the heart, that energy of connectedness, that energy of compassion, of authenticity. We need the sacred masculine as well. Absolutely. We need focus. We need direction. We need form. We need structure. We need those riverbanks. But we need the riverbanks to be able to sense and listen and feel the divine feminine flow, and let the divine feminine educate those riverbanks on where we need to grow, where we need to go, so we can create the kind of structures that support the flow instead of keeping the flow turned down. Now, I could go on for a long time about this, but what I want you to understand here and to activate within you is your feminine energy is embodiment. And when you're looking to turn up your divine feminine energy, and you'll find out where you need to do that. We're going to do some inner process here in a moment. That is your essence, it's embodiment. It's not enough to know something anymore. It's not enough to know what your divine gifts are. If I give you your sacred wealth code and you understand what your divine gifts are, your highest value gifts, you have a lot of gifts, but what are the highest value ones? The ones that are at the intersection of your purpose and prosperity, the ones where when you use them, you unlock something in the world that no one else can unlock. And if you don't, it doesn't get unlocked because it's yours and yours alone. We're all part of this tapestry, of this unique and beautiful tapestry of the world. We're all part of this, and we all are woven together. So when you step in and use those divine gifts, you are animating, you are you're contributing at a very deep level. You have to, it's not enough to know those gifts. You have to know how, what to do with them, how to do with them, which is more the masculine, the divine sacred masculine energy. And what I find with a lot of conscious women visionaries, because I find this with myself and I'm constantly working on it, and it's always in the clients I attract, that is that you need to close that gap between what you know and what you're embodying. So I'm saying a lot of things about the feminine, and you're shaking your head and you're saying, yeah, okay, I get that. It's flow and compassion, and and I have to activate my divine gifts, and I've got to step out of my shadow. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But are you embodying that? Because when you embody it, then you're being it, and when you're being it, then there's no more gap. But sometimes the more conscious we are, we don't necessarily, we're in that knowing place instead of bringing it all the way down into the being place. Simple example, gratitude practice. We all know, I can just say that to you, you're here, you're conscious. And we know the benefits of it. There's scientific benefits of a gratitude practice. You can shorten your telomeres with a gratitude practice. You can heal relationships. You can bring in more wealth. There's so many things you can do that a gratitude practice will do for you. But are you doing it? Maybe you are, that's wonderful. But are you actually doing it? Are you being it? And because the times we're living in, and because as we wake up and become more conscious, sometimes we're on to the next thing, and we miss that piece of the humanity piece where we're actually required to get it down into our cell tissue. And this is one of the things that we've got to close the gap on. And the way that I teach this and do this is we come down into inspired action based on our gifts, based on what our heart is telling us, based on our intuition, based on those divine downloads. But then we come down and we take inspired action. We don't then look at the world and get distracted again. We come down and we understand what our heart wants for us. And we have a way of asking, what's that next inspired action? And then when we move our feet from our soul down to the soles of our feet, we, in that inspired action, whether you're called to start writing that book, whether you're called to have a conversation with someone, whether you're called to sit for meditation or take a walk. And that's what, that's what you're called for, that next step of integration. When you actually do that, there is so much that shifts and changes, but the mind doesn't always believe that. So the shadow side of us will often pull us away from our path by distracting us and thinking we're going to get there quicker, or because the shadow side of us, doesn't want to get its world shaken. So we have to be really, really, really careful of this. The shadow side of us, let's talk about that for a moment. And one of the things that was so clear when the Sacred Wealth Code really dropped in. So after me talking to people and helping them with their, here's what your divine gift is. You are an amazing communicator, but you work as a communicator, as a writer. You have a way of really purposefully bringing words together in a concise way, or for someone else, it might have been in this really unique, creative way to touch people at a certain level. The archetypes for the Sacred Wealth Code eventually channeled in. And what I love about the archetypes, I've got a couple behind me here. You'll see the visionary, you'll see the queen. She's it's one of the moon's archetypes, and that is very much the divine feminine leader on many levels. And we all have a moon, and we all have a queen within us, and we're all divine feminine. The great nurturer is also one of the archetypes for the moon. But then we also have the honorable warrior, and we have the great connector. All the archetypes dropped in, and what I loved about them is, like I just said to you, nurturer, the connector, the communicator, the visionary, the queen. And just in me saying that, a whole story uniquely for you that you understand, that you're connected with, that's timeless, that's a soul language opened up for you, because that's what archetypes are. They're a soul language. And what I loved about this is it allowed me to give people over the keys to their own kingdom and queendom over at a different level. Because as you tune in with the archetypes, as you explore them, as you read them, they're in my book, they're in the Oracle deck as well, the journal, as you start to work with these guides, but even if you read the words of them, they're channeled in a way and that they're timeless, and different things speak to you over time. And you're going to glean exactly what your soul needs at this given moment whenever you tap in. So I was grateful when the archetypes showed up. And when they showed up absolutely helping people to understand their gifts so much more, but also the shadow side as well. And the important part of this is that so many times we are stuck in the shadow side. So for instance, I had mentioned the great nurturer, who's mothering and nurturing and devoted and loving and wise and empathetic and so much more, but has a mantra of, I give and receive nourishment, has a soul desire to be a channel for unconditional love, abundance, and growth. It has a purpose to nurture and grow and create community, but also has a shadow side. And the shadow side is overgiving, martyrdom, over-emotional, and over-attached. And that overgiving piece, some of the other really sexy things I just said, all of us, the feminine, have within us somewhere. And that overgiving shadow, that was conditioned into us. We overgave in order to get love. We don't necessarily think of it that way, but as we untangle it, it's very unique to each one of us. But if we're stuck in overgiving, and I was definitely stuck in overgiving, when we're stuck in overgiving, we are not receiving, we're not in receivership. And the shadow side is just a part of us, a younger part of us that was conditioned to give more in order to, was seeking love in that way and seeking approval of that way. But it's like looking for love in all the wrong places. And these are patterns we have to untangle over time, because if we don't, this is why you can say, okay, I'm standing in my gifts, like I was at my yoga center. But in truth, I was in some I had the shadow of being too independent, overdoing, too perfectionistic and controlling, again, really sexy terms. I was standing in it firm and strongly, and so strongly that even though I was standing in my gifts in a lot of ways, not always, in some ways, it canceled out, and I kept staying sort of in this same place. So I'd love to know, and feel free to share that with me. Are you finding yourself in, you're wanting to move forward, you're wanting to move on, but you keep bumping up or circling around and finding yourself, it's showing up with the same limitation, the same fear, the same, like, why am I dealing with this again? This is how we know we're stuck in the shadow. The shadow is not wrong or bad. Everybody's welcome at the party. And that's the feminine. We welcome it all in. The shadow masculine will say, no, it's this way or it's that way. It's right or it's wrong. Mm-mm. It's like the 5-year-old who stubbed their toe. We can't make them walk any faster, right? But the feminine's going to go, divine feminine mother is going to put their arm around them or put them on their back, pick them up. And we're going to find out what's wrong. And we're going to carry them along the way. And we're going to help them heal. And then they'll be able to run with us again. And that's what the shadow parts, they need that deep, deep healing. And that's why a lot of the work that I do, especially in my solutionary blueprint, which is for conscious women visionaries who really want to go deep and unlock their sacred wealth code aligned with their purpose and prosperity, that we have to clear these shadow parts. We need to do these clearing processes, and we need to learn how to do them for ourselves so that we can clear our energy. I just want to take a moment and circle back here with our comments. And Mary was saying that when I was talking about losing my center, my yoga center, losing my center, great. Yes, absolutely. And I think the other comment came in somewhere around the river and the banks on the beautiful analogy. And Carrie saying, overgiving absolutely resonates with me. However, all things in moderation. There is so much I receive when giving in alignment with soul purpose. And yes, it's a slippery slope. Absolutely. We can give all day long when it's not overgiving. When we're giving what we're here to give, when we're giving what's really our gifts, like I can do this all day long and be fully energized. I'm in my gifts. I'm fully giving what I've got in the moment. And I know you have those places too. And that's when we're in flow, right? We're back in the feminine flow. And I have a structure here of this conference. That's more the masculine energy in order to, deliver this and have this interaction and receive and us to work together on this. And overgiving, remember, it's just the giving when it's from the shadow. It's when you don't want to really give, when there's a shadow part of you trying to give to get something. Again, this is unconscious stuff. That's why we have to go in and untangle this. To give to overgiving to keep safe in some way or protect yourself in some way. So that overgiving piece is there is that authentic giving. So Carrie says one more thing here. I'm always giving too much and do receive, but I'm learning to ask sometimes. I need more balance and I'm working on it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, Carrie. Kathleen, beautiful. And this, I brought up the shadows. There's so many shadow sides within the archetypes and within your gifts, but I brought this up because this is inherent in every woman. Just like on the shadow side of the connector is the connector is all about connecting, and it's connecting from the heart. It's the we are one energy. It's where we can meet people where we're at. We can walk them along. But this is the people pleaser lives within this archetype. And again, these are both very feminine archetypes. The honorable warrior, this is a masculine archetype, and there's a way we wield our masculine power, and we do it as the feminine, and it's a beautiful thing. Or like the archetype of the king or the strategist, these are more on the masculine side, and there is a place for those. Absolutely, that direction, consciousness, energy. But that people pleaser energy, these two, I want to say, out of the shadow sides, I picked those to bring to you because it is, the shadow side has been programmed into us as some of the ways our nurturing energy has been, natural feminine instincts have been, I want to say, abused and devalued. And so those have really come up strong, like, people pleasing. If we give more, if we please more and we keep everybody, happy, it's kind of like the overgiving thing, but it has a different tone to it. Then again, we're looking for love in all the right places, or we're avoiding confrontation because we've been really hurt by confrontation. Reading another comment here, it seems like healers or those who want to heal struggle the most with the archetypes around overgiving and people pleasing, finding flow to support others while also supporting ourselves seems to be the key to healing the wounded healer. Absolutely. And I want to say, in the times we are living in now, and I know you have heard that so many times, but in the times we are living in now, listen to me, you healers, you coaches, and it's just really it makes me emotional because I'm in this too, but I feel this in all of you. You have got to take care of yourselves first, because we have nothing left to give if we don't give it first. If we don't take care of ourselves first, we have nothing left to give. And we are called upon more than ever. So many are struggling right now, and we are so called upon to, we can fall into that overgiving because we care, because we've got the abilities. But is it really us being squeaky clean with ourselves? Is it really us honoring and nurturing our energy? Can we give our best if we become depleted? We've got to, all of us, we have got to watch this, because we are overtaxed right now. You've got to pull away, and you've got to take care of yourself, so that you'll slip into the shadow if your energetic currency is gone above and beyond your capacity. So imagine you have $100 worth of energetic currency in a day, and you are using that energetic currency. You're financing what you have to do today. You've got people to take care of. You probably have work that you're doing in the world. You have, just what you need for your basic needs. You've got money stuff to deal with. You have fears that you know about. You have unconscious patterns and fears you don't know about. Maybe you're working on healing something. And if you're overgiving or people pleasing and much more, if you're in the shadow side, we are energetically bankrupt. And we don't have the ability to do that. So what happens is then we become sick. What happens is we become broke, both on a material level or an emotional level, or our relationships disintegrate, or whatever it might be. We cannot energetically bankrupt ourselves. We must take care of ourselves first. We must nurture our own divine feminine. We must nurture our own evolution and our own gifts, which sometimes means saying no, which sometimes saying, I've got to step in and heal for me right now, or I need to go get my healing. This is so, so, so important. So for you healers, teachers, coaches, and the like, make sure. I know that there's more work to do out there right now than we can do alone. But you have to trust that by taking care of yourself first and foremost, and not burning out, you are going to be taking care of the world, because that burning out is part of the shadow feminine that keeps the feminine energy down. It won't allow us to rise and do what we're really here to do, because leaning back, because self-nurturing, because self-love is part of how we evolve. And if we're all doing that, then we're creating a much, we're embodying and we're leading authentically by who we're being. And we're leading a new paradigm, again, by who we're being. Otherwise, we're doing it in the same old way, even though it looks like we are serving the purpose that we're here to serve. So we must watch this energy. Okay, I have so much more I want to share with you, but I want to get into some, we've got about 10 minutes left here, 12 minutes left. And to stay timely, I want to get into an inner process with you and help you ask some deep questions. If in this deep questions, there is things that don't, like, the answer isn't coming up, no worries, maybe it'll come up later, okay? I will ask, I'm going to tune us in. We're going to go into the heart. We're going to trust the first answer that comes up. You're going to journal that answer down, and then you're going to tune right back in. Your heart knows the way. One of the biggest things for women is, and to trust our feminine hearts, is to trust ourselves. And that is to be able to trust the transmission that's coming through. And then, like I said, bring it down to the soles of our feet, then take the inspired actions that'll move us in that direction. So that we're in full embodiment. Then we're just being. It's not thinking, well, how do I do that today? Then we're just being. When you align with your sacred wealth code, and like I said, there are masculine archetypes by all means, like the honorable warrior. And this is a great, but the shadow side of the honorable warrior is going to be the rescuer. Because then we feel needed again, right? And then also pushing against what you don't want. And the part of the strength of the honorable warrior, and it has many great strengths, is really about standing strongly for what you're for, and let the energetic currency of standing what you're for be so much stronger than what it is that you're against. We're always resonating someone. our energy, whether you're trying to resonate your partner to watch the movie you want to watch, or your kids to do something, or whether you're in a sales call or whatever, you're always resonating. So when you turn the dial up of your energy so that it's a higher frequency of what it is that you are wanting to overcome, or that you that you are not standing for in the world, then you are going to, you're contributing to that energy, and you're feeding that energy to become bigger, like to live more in community, to live more from the feminine side, to heal the places in the world that need to be healed. But if we're just spending our energy pushing against what we don't want, we actually feed that. So that's more on that masculine side. Just wanted to drop that in. All right, let's take a deep breath, have something to take some notes with. Okay, this will be a fairly quick process. And also there will be, there's a free gift you can also take I think the link will be at the end of my talk here, where you can take the Sacred Wealth Code quiz and get one of your Sacred Wealth Code archetypes. If you're interested in working deeper with me in my solutionary blueprint, this is where we work in a small group over a year's period of time, and we really go deep, and we're working with the archetypes. We're working with your purpose, with whatever it is that you're shifting your work to in the world, or creating new, or taking to the next level, whatever that may be, for conscious women visionaries. And also if you take the quiz, the free gift, you'll also get a meditation that I use for dropping in the heart and taking inspired action on a daily basis, the soul wisdom meditation. So you'll have for some resources to be able to dive into to take this further. All right, close your eyes. I'm going to take us in the laser way here because I want to stay timely. Close your eyes, take some deep full breaths. And on your exhalations, next two exhalations, I just want you to let everything go. Trust you got what you needed. You can come back to it. It'll be there as you need it. Take another deep full breath. And as you breathe into your heart, again, this is your command central. This is your connection with the field of possibilities. This is your center of truth. We're going to have reverence for the mind for a moment. You have a beautiful mind. Imagine it like this beautiful gem. It's brilliant. It's probably very sharp. And at the same time, it's busy and sometimes misdirected. It's a tool, and we want it to follow the wisdom of your heart. So take another deep full breath. And invite your mind to drop into your heart. You could imagine that your heart is just this beautiful, warm pool, this beautiful sanctuary, because it is. And your mind is this well-faceted gem. You're going to drop it from your head all the way down to your heart. So down through your nasal cavity, the top of your throat. I'll just energetically walk you down here and take you quickly here. Top of your throat, base of your throat, top of your chest, right down into the very center of your chest. You can put your hand on your heart. If it's not there, take a deep full breath and trust you have landed in your heart. We need the mind to follow the wisdom of the heart. Your mind is an amazing tool, but it's not meant to lead the way. We've explored some topics today around masculine and feminine energy, and we're just going to drop in some questions. You're going to go with the first thing. You're going to write the first thing that comes up, and just trust that. I'm going to ask the question like you're asking yourself. I'm just dropping it right into your heart. And your first soul question is, if you tell yourself the truth, if I tell myself the truth, am I balanced in my divine feminine and my sacred masculine energy? Am I fully 100% balanced? No right, no wrong. We're just taking stock of where you are. And just make a note of that. Close your eyes, dive in for the next question. Take a deep full breath. And if I tell myself the truth, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of the time am I creating from masculine energy? 10 would be all of the time, 1 would be just a little bit of time. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much am I creating from my masculine energy? No right, no wrong, just good information to have. Are you doing a lot? Are you just flowing a lot? Where are you with that? Right now, because I know it changes over time. Another deep, full breath. If I tell myself the truth, which aspects of my feminine energy am I aligned with and really expressing well? What are those aspects of my feminine energy that I just feel really aligned with? Oh, I really know how to flow when I need to flow. Maybe it's your nurturing. Maybe it's your ability to connect. Maybe it's your authenticity. Just trust whatever comes up for you. Maybe it's your creativity. You'll be able to listen to this again if you want to dive deeper with it. Another deep, full breath. Back into your heart, command central. The heart knows the way. The soul speaks through the heart. If I tell myself the truth, which aspects of my masculine energy am I aligned with and expressing well? This is more of the sacred masculine energy. Good structure, good direction, productivity, execution, purpose. And take another deep, full breath. Just let that come through and capture it. And tuning back in here, right back to your heart. Good, you're doing really well. Which aspects of my feminine energy do I need to better align with and express? Where do you need to turn the dial up on your feminine energy? On alignment and expression. And expression itself is feminine energy. Are you expressing your gifts? Just trust, it's so personal. I don't want to throw too much in here. Just trust whatever comes up for you. Another deep breath. If you're don't think this. If you have just come up with one thing, it's perfect. Again, you can revisit it. Overthinking is shadow masculine, by the way. It's on the shadow side of the both the organizer and the communicator. Which aspects of my masculine energy do I need to better align with and express? My masculine energy. Am I in flow too much? Do I need some more structure? Do I need to get going with something? Do I need to take inspired action on my intuitive downloads? And you can feel free to share any of this as well. We'll have 2 more questions in the time we have, just real quick here. Take another deep, full breath. If I tell myself the truth, what shadow side of my feminine energy do I need to release? in order to move forward with what I'm here for? Which shadow side of my feminine energy do I need to release in order to, or would it be useful to release in order to move forward really and stand in for what I'm here for? And what's one inspired action? If I really tell myself the truth, what's one inspired action I could take to support myself in bringing my feminine energy more into balance? Again, trust the first thing that comes up, no matter if it makes sense to your mind or not. And masculine side, if I really tell myself the truth, what do I need to release to come more into balance with my masculine energy, my sacred masculine energy? What do I need to release? What's that pattern? What's that belief? What am I hooked into on an unconscious side that I can have compassion for myself, but it's time to let go of? And then finally, what's one inspired action that I can take to support myself in coming into balance with my sacred masculine energy? And take another deep, full breath. Again, if you want to revisit these questions, you can go back and listen to the replay on this. You can do that. We went through a lot in a condensed period of time. I want to thank you so very much for being here. Feel free to leave a comment. And I just really want to honor you for taking this time for this conference, for you to dive into and understand more of quantum feminine energy and to be awakened at another level, because you're awakening others along this path. And this is how this works. We light each other up and we light up the world that way. So much love to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Prema. I found that exercise was really powerful. And what was interesting to me is the inspired action was the same for masculine and feminine for me. And it was all about movement, moving the body, being the balance for both.
That is wonderful. And, isn't it wonderful how you have to really trust what comes through? And I'm just seeing all these amazing comments here. Thank you. I'm glad that this has worked and this has touched you. Trust what comes through, because this is where we lose our path. If you could trust and just take that, your soul will never give you something you can't do. So, so if you actually do that movement, and if you take it to another level, okay, so then what's the movement I could take for this? What's the movement I could, drill it down. If I really tell myself the truth, the backdoor question to the soul, but you actually do it. Like if you don't do it and you just keep writing in your journal, then nothing is going to change. And we do need change, because there's change happening all the time. But in order for us to affect that change, we have to be able to steer that change. And by us taking our own inspired actions, even if it's a self-care, because what's good for you is good for everyone, whether they know it or not, even if that means dissolving a relationship or leaving a job. It's good for you. If it's truly good for you, it's good for everyone. Thank you. Bless you.
I love it. And I'm doing your journal, like I have it and I am completing it. So if you guys haven't picked this up yet, and I'm going to share on the screen the links that you were talking about, Prema. Let me share these up for everybody. So hopefully you can see that. If you want to go through those one more time, Prema, just so everybody.
Sure. So if you want to take the quiz, the Sacred Wealth Code quiz, it's very simple to take, but you'll get one of your Sacred Wealth Code archetypes, and then you'll get some information if you do actually want to get a reading. And there is a bit.ly link there with a capital S WCQUIZ. Also, if you go to my website, Solutionary, SOULUTIONARY, you're going to find all my resources there, and also the Solutionary Blueprint Program for conscious women visionaries who are ready to go deeper than ever before to transform their life and their business from the inside out. You can get more information there. My book is available on my journal, on my site, but it's also available on Amazon. Just search your Sacred Wealth Code and all my stuff, my Oracle cards, they're all be there. And they're great self-study resources for you. It's more like a, if you like the questioning I did today, I do that in all my work, but I do that in my book as well. And there's also some recorded resources there for you.
I love it. And I'll make sure everyone, I'll drop these bit.ly links in the chat during the break, and they'll also go out with the replay later today. And again, Prema, thank you so much. I'm so honored to have you be a part of this. And we're going to take just a short 5-minute break, you guys. And we're going to be back with Cheryl Watson, who is also incredible. And she channels Metatron, and she's going to be talking about love today. So that's going to be really wonderful. So take your break, do what you need to do. And thank you, Prema.
Oh, much love to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.